everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Bottom Line. I'm your host, Lauren Kalil. Our show is brought to you by Whoop. Start tracking your strain, recovery, and sleep scores with Whoop, and even get an extra month's membership and a free 4.0 strap when you sign up with the link in our description. If you like listening to CrossFit news and everything that's going on in the sport, make sure to like and subscribe. Over the next few days, we're going to continue to discuss the semifinals now that we have a better look at the athletes that will be going to each one. We have sports analysts Brian Friend and Patrick Clark back here. This time we are talking about the Lowlands Throwdown. Guys, what are some of your initial thoughts? We'll start this time with the women's side. Patrick, you can kick it off.
Well, it's a murder's row. It's a murder's row of women athletes here. I mean, top to bottom, I think there's potentially, making these lists. I mean, this is just an initial look, but any of these women right here probably could be top 40 at the games. And then there's quite a few on this list that probably top 15 in the games. But unfortunately, only 5 are going to move on with, 3 spots going to the semifinals. But initially, like I said, it's just a murder's row. I don't know how they selected these, and maybe that's another show. But if I'm one of these athletes not named Sarah, Gabby, Laura, or I'm kind of wondering what did I do to deserve to end up at this semifinal.
Brian, do you have a similar thought to that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, really, there are a lot of women in Europe that I don't think the CrossFit world as a whole knows about yet, and some of them and a lot of them are actually in this semifinal. I mean, I've been talking about Karen Freyova for a couple of years, and she's just had just barely missed out and had some unfortunate things. Lucy Campbell's an up and comer that we got to see at Wadapalooza that people are really excited about. But there's some other names on this list in Matilda Garns, Ella Wunger, and Oyana Moya, and also Elena Caratella Sanahuya. All 4 of those women, I think, have a ton of potential in this space. We've had a chance to feature them in some different ways over the past 12 months, but they're all just grouped together here. Probably, it's probably like 5 or 6 women that could excel at the games that are battling for 2 spots.
What do you think the showdown between Laura Horvath and Gabby Magala is going to be like at this semi?
I think we've already seen it. We saw it at Dubai where they kind of went there, and obviously they're really good friends. Gabby's dating Laura's brother, Christoph, and so they're very friendly, and they root each other on. I think they don't train together, but they know each other very well. So I think it's gonna be fun to watch them. I mean, this is the one semifinal that I'm trying to go to. I mean, of all the semifinals, this is the one I'm excited about, and specifically just to see those 2 and Sarah, because all 3 of them were on the floor, and I think Julie Hogard was too at Dubai. I mean, we had quite a few athletes that we saw at Dubai, so it's almost like a repeat of Dubai. But and Laura ended up on top at that particular competition.
Yeah, they actually have had quite a storied little history over the past couple of years. Really, the first time I remember them going at it was way back in the 2018 regionals, but then also at Strength and Depth. That one year they had a great battle. Haley Adams was there as well. And then obviously they exchanged kind of beating each other between Rogue and Dubai in the off season this year. Laura got the better of her at the games. Gabby seems to be on the ascension, very much improving over the last 12 months. And it seems like she still has, she hasn't reached her ceiling yet. Laura's finished second twice at the games. And with Tia in the field, that's like almost as good as anyone can hope to do. So, if Gabby wants to ultimately get into that second place spot, Laura's someone she has to go through. And so this is kind of an opportunity for them to feel each other out at this stage in the season and set up what will probably be 2 of the main primary women battling for the podium when we do get to Madison.
Let's move now over to the men's field. PC, we'll start with you. Some storylines that you'll be paying attention to when you look at the list.
It's kind of the same thing on the men's side. Like I said, murderer's row for the women. It's the same on the men's. You have the Dukic brothers right there, and then BKG. Mundweiler's a veteran who's been there before. Uldis has. I mean, you just go down a list. But I'm more interested about the youngsters. I've been a big Moritz Fiebig fan for a while now, ever since I got to see him in action at Dubai, and he just recently switched camps, so he's now with the program. down in Mallorca with Gabby and Jacqueline Dahlstrom and Christoph Horvath. So I'm really interested to see what he does. And Victor Lungjaw, who famously you interviewed, who won, I believe, Open Workout #1. So I'm interested to see what he does. And Kevin Jers. I mean, it's very top heavy, but I really like to see what some of these other athletes do.
What are your thoughts, Brian?
My thoughts are, who made this list and why isn't Haraldur Holgersen on it?
Boy, that's your boy.
He is my boy, and I think this is a super hard draw for him. But I'm excited to see him compete. He's a young guy out of Iceland. He's showed some promise in some high level events that he's been able to participate over the last couple of years. But extremely stout field with more games athletes from last year than there are spots this year. And that's not to mention, obviously the rest of the guys who are very, very good. And we'll see, once we get to the strength and depth eventually as well. But basically it seems, I've talked a lot about how strong the women's field is in Europe, and it seems like the men's field has a pretty comparable depth this season.
PC, what is your bottom line for the Lowlands Throwdown?
Oh, buy tickets for it. Buy tickets. I mean, they're probably loving me right now for hyping up that, but man, I'm trying to get there. I know Brian's trying to get there. We want to see. This is a pretty. I mean, like I said, all the semifinals. This is the one I want to see because not only because of the top athletes that are participating, but more about the other athletes that we don't know too much about that are probably going to be the future stars of the sport, not only in Europe but also for the whole sport.
Is that confirmed, Brian, that you're trying to get there?
Yeah, I am trying to get there. Actually, I've been trying to get there for 3 years now. So hopefully this third time.
Oh my God. Yeah, it must be.
Send Brian to Amsterdam. Let's send him.
But I would say the bottom line here is the athletes that qualify out of the Lowlands Throwdown for the games are all top 20 contenders once they get there.
Awesome. And again, this is just one of 3 semifinals that's going to kick off the semifinals May 20th through the 22nd. We will continue our coverage with sports analysts Brian Friend and Patrick Clark tomorrow.